You might think that every other person is stupid because you don't understand them. You don't understand their perspectives. You don't understand what they've been through. You don't understand what they know. Sometimes something just makes sense to someone, and you'll never logically understand that, and you have to be okay with just letting them do their thing, because people are not problems. People don't want to feel like they need to be solved, like they have something wrong with them. And when I talk to people, I always put a huge emphasis on you have to do what works for you. There's no set in stone rules. There's guidelines you can go off of, but ultimately it's what works for you. When you do what works for you, you're able to kind of adapt and develop a system that's unique. You can take people's advice for what it is, but try it yourself. When you try it yourself, you're going to know what works and what doesn't. I mean, there's a comparison of, I think it's like a fish and a monkey, and it's a tree climbing contest. And obviously, if you do the same thing, if they do the same thing and try to climb the tree, obviously the monkey's going to be able to climb the tree effortlessly, but the fish doesn't even have hands. And you have to really understand that everybody's different and everybody is good at some things and worse at other things. And I think that's what makes humans as a species so beautiful, because we can kind of get together and we can kind of fill in each other's weak spots, or come together and form a beautiful relationship, or, an awesome business, or whatever it may be. So the overall goal here is to kind of adopt a more open-minded thinking pattern. When somebody says something and you kind of notice yourself saying, that's completely stupid, that's ridiculous, no way that's going to work, kind of take into consideration that they might be right. There's no way of telling for sure, because there is no right and there is no wrong with almost everything, because, like I said, every human's different. Everybody has their own beliefs. Everybody grew up differently. Everybody has different parents. There's no two of the same. And as there are kind of widely accepted social norms and whatnot, rules, there's not a one size fits all sort of pattern. And like I said, I try to always emphasize do what works for you. When you try to impose or force your opinion or your way of doing something on someone, it just makes them want to get away from you. It makes them not interested in you. And you may have the best intent in mind, but you can give people pointers, but you can't force them. Just like, you can lead a camel to water, but you can't make it drink. You have to let them figure out what's best for them. When you try to force your way on someone, you're just wasting time. You're just wasting energy. We all have these patterns, these thought patterns that make sense to us, that have been working forever, and they're deeply rooted. And to try to pull up somebody's patterns, to try to uproot them, is laughable, because it takes years of mental work, years of inner work to change that. And you really think just by saying, oh, you're wrong, you're going to fix, you're going to correct them? You just can't do that. You need to consider all perspectives as possibly right. And when you do that, it's kind of a very freeing thing, because it allows you to be a lot more of a relaxed and collected person, because it's kind of like it is what it is kind of attitude, where you're kind of just letting people do what they want. Obviously, if somebody's going around killing people or inflicting harm upon other people, that's kind of where it becomes problematic. When somebody goes away from their realm of control and starts to affect other people. But if they're not hurting anyone, if they're just doing their own thing, then let them be. Let them do what works for them. First, it's extremely difficult to adapt a kind of open mind, but with persistence and with repetition, you'll be able to do that. And all it takes is mindfulness practice. Practice being mindful, and you're going to be all set. So the next time you hear somebody and you think their opinion is stupid or crazy, catch yourself and consider, what if they are right? I mean, open-mindedness opens the door to so many opportunities to learn, to grow, and to have a wide array of perspective under your belt is such an amazing thing, because you can connect with humans better. And I mean, at least I personally think we're put on this world to connect with other humans, to do great things. And the only way to be able to do that is if you can form bonds with them and make connections and understand them and work with them. When you become a more open-minded person, you become a more relaxed person, you become a more capable person, you become a more approachable person, you become a lot more likable, and I think that's well worth it. Do yourself a favor, be more mindful of your opinions, and go out and connect with other people. The key takeaway here is that you can only control yourself. So when you master your own inner workings, when you understand why you think the way you do, and you can open up your horizons to all perspectives, then you'll be unstoppable. And really all it takes is some mindfulness work. You can catch yourself, and you could really work towards being receptive to new ideas. So do yourself the favor and take that leap into open-mindedness. Practice mindfulness meditation. Really put in the work, and you'll be happy you did. I also forgot to mention when I talked about it, the topic of conflict, because that's kind of unavoidable when you are interacting with other people. And simply put, I would say that no amount of happiness is worth trading just to be right. And some would beg to differ, but really, to kind of avoid the risk of sounding, or I should say getting into philosophical territory, as long as nobody's life is in danger, you're free to just walk away. And if somebody's life is in danger in a situation, you always just have to trust yourself that you're going to do what's right. And hopefully you never get put in that situation, but trust your instincts. And don't forget, you could still respect somebody's opinion without having to agree with them. There are plenty of relationships or scenarios where two people can have conflicting opinions and they could still get along. They don't have to hate each other. And I guess that's my kind of best piece of advice, is if somebody else has a conflicting opinion with yours, you don't have to hate them because it's different. You can respect their opinion, and you don't have to agree with it. If there's something that's, really driving a wedge between you and another person, you have to kind of evaluate your relationship with them, and you have to see bigger picture scale if it's even worth it in the long run. You can talk it out, you come to a conclusion. The conclusion might end up in walking away, but you just gotta be open and receptive to other people's opinions, and if you don't agree with them, you don't agree with them. It really just comes down to respecting them. And with that being said, I think that sums up everything. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.